really good.
Thank you.
On TV Arcana.
That's Arcana.
One.
Hi everyone. Through the Eyes of a Cricketer has a very special guest today. We talked about it quite a few eras, but the World Cups are another interesting part of your life. I'm hearing in 1975 the poor little Sri Lankans had a pretty sick and sorry time.
Well, it would have been their intro, I think, into big time cricket around then. Okay. So, and that obviously would have been their first one-day competition, and that was at Lord's, the inaugural World Cup. And we got to near semi-final time. I nearly got sent home by the guy we just spoke about, Donald Bradford, sent a message because there was articles in the paper and you're not supposed to write articles. I wasn't writing them, but I had a manager back in those days. He was writing. So they said send him home, right?
Based on them.
On that,
wow.
On those articles being in the paper. And then Ian Chappell walked in and said, you won't be sending Thommo home unless you send them all. And said, tell Bradford.
Look at your school days now. Obviously, one of your best friends from school times was Len Pascoe. Good old Lenny, when you went to school, in fact, you both met, I believe you were at Conville Park and he was at Bankstown.
No, he lived near Punch Bowl
right.
School. He wasn't far from there. I was at Conville Park, which is near Bankstown Airport.
Right.
Yeah.
And you both played against each other at primary school level?
At primary school, we used to play against one another. Yeah, that's how we first sort of ran into one another, you know.
But then, of course, Punch Bowl Boys was your high school, which there are many memories from that.
Yeah,
certainly.
well, I went to Punch Bowl. This might surprise you, but I got a choice of schools. I used to be quite good at school.
Really?
My brother before me was really, really good, and so were my other brothers. So I got a choice of where I wanted to go. So I picked Punch Bowl. And then, as it turned out, Lenny went there because he lived up the street, so he just got in there anyway, you know, and we ran into one another there, so we played together for Punch Bowl, and oh mate, that was the start of, I suppose, the notorious duo of wreaking havoc around Sydney grade cricket and whatever, not only grade cricket, but anything we played in, yeah.
Can you imagine having Len Pascoe and Jeff Thomson not only in the same school, but also in the same cricket side? That to me would have been amazing.
Well, it was. I mean, the other schools didn't like playing us. They were scared stiff, and you couldn't blame them. You know, we bowled fairly quick, fairly rapid, especially when we started to get 15 onwards. You know, you start the hormones kick in, and then all of a sudden you get quicker and stronger and all that. So it was a cakewalk when we played the other schools. I know I shouldn't say that, but it was. You know. So
you're now a professor at all? Is that what your career's moved on to from cricket, or?
Oh, what?
A professor?
Professor. No, but you tend to think about a lot more things when you get older. You don't think about it when you're 18, do you? You just go out there and head on, you know, and just dive into things. But, yeah.
So, obviously, with both you and your Len together playing cricket, you obviously then moved into a very famous part of your life, which was World Series cricket. Tell us the stories behind some of the incidents there where when you entered into World Series cricket and how that came about.
Well, it was... Well, I left, you know, we played together at Sydney, just started to make a mark in New South Wales. I got in the side, Lenny hadn't got in, so when I moved out of New South Wales, went to Queensland, he got in the New South Wales side. So then we used to play against one another again in state cricket. And then that lasted for a while till Kerry Packer came along in 78, I think it was. 77 is when we signed. And probably 4 or 5 of us signed in my place in Brisbane to come up there, you know. So I signed initially, but I wasn't allowed to go because the radio station that I worked for in Queensland didn't want me to go to World Series cricket. They said, no, you stay where you are, you'll be as big a star as ever, which I was, but that wasn't the point. We were trying...
Around cricketers that the world has seen, he was certainly one of the best in my era. But I also had a lot to do with him off the field. Always found him very friendly and very, very generous. Whilst he competed hard on the field, he was very generous off the field. Since his playing days, obviously he's moved into other areas, and I've had the great pleasure of catching up with him a number of times when I've been in Pakistan and in India and in the UK. And I'm taken with his passion for his country, Pakistan. He has a real belief in your country.